Welcome to the SMX Insider pre-race show. A little sweat, a little champagne, a little hardware. Welcome to our desk. Come on over.
Yeah, come on this side. That's where we got the mic.
Yeah, this is one of those things that, you know, as the guys are talking about, any given rider can win on any given day. Stu, RC they were just talking about that. Hunter, you showed us again. There have been 4 different 450 rider moto wins over the course of SMX already. You've shown us that, you know what, anybody can take it, even with a little fobble there at the end.
I'd like to say not anyone can take it. I'd like to give myself a little credit. You know, I'm not just anyone. But no, absolutely. This format, you've seen the racing's always so close. You know, it's the little tenths here and tenths there that are the separators. So it's tough, and that's what makes it super.
Hunter, yeah, go ahead.
How about the first moto? I mean, that was incredible. Obviously, the second one was great, but the first moto executed the start, executed the first half of the race. Jet gets by you, he makes a mistake, but then down the stretch, you hear that number 3, and we know what it's like with the 3 behind you. It gets a little bit loud, gets rowdy back there.
Yeah, no doubt you hear him, that's for sure. Whether he's right behind you or 5 seconds back. Yeah, it was good. The second one, I mean, you've seen a lot of guys go down the track. It was like really fast to catch you. So I knew what situation I was kind of in. Thankfully, I didn't have to risk it. I knew Eli was the main guy I had to beat, and obviously keep Jet 1 in front and 1 behind. And yeah, it kind of worked out. Hustle bustle in the first few laps, and yeah, pretty stoked.
What's it feel like? I know I've seen you, I've watched you throughout your career. We both had our fair share of, you know, issues we run in. We go ups and downs in dirt bikes, and I've seen you kind of grow more stoic as as you've gotten further and further into your career, and I think you do a really good job of managing your emotions. So major respect. But what's that like? I mean, you've had a great rookie season. You've been so close to getting that win. What's it like during the week, just being so close and having to stay disciplined in your mind like that and just not get too excited?
Yeah, it's tough. That's one thing, as you know better than anyone else, you know, being mentally tough is when everything's going possibly wrong and you're not getting your way and you're just slogging it out and you're not getting what you're working for. You know, I think that's really what mental strength and toughness is really about. It's easy to be mentally strong when everything's going well, like last year for me. That's easy, you know. But just persistence, man. Just keep at it. It feels good. It's not done yet. This is a small box. You know, I mean, we got the big lotto next weekend. So yeah, the job's not done, but we'll have a nice dinner tonight and enjoy it until midnight. Then it's back to work.
I love it.
I like the way you put that, the big lotto. It's like $5.5 million across the series on the line. When you kind of look ahead to next week, what are some changes that you might make, if any, as you kind of mentally prep, you know, physically prep to get ready for it all, especially with the winner takes all?
Nothing really. I mean, you'd be a bit silly to change things the week of. You know, we're on week 30 now, so it seemed to work tonight, so we're not going to change anything. We're obviously going to go back and just work on the spots where we can improve. You know, win or lose, we always go back and work. Dazzy's waiting at the truck for us, and we'll debrief the race, and he'll tell me Jet was better here, Hunter, you were better here. So that's our feet are on the ground, safe to say. So we just stay planted.
Well, congrats, man. We're pumped for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Awesome,
I think the big question is how is the serial conversation going to go with your brother going into next week? As we go to the guys who asked the question, they're curious what kind of cereal he'll eat and how the conversation is going to go with Jet.
Well, funny, I told Will Christian right after qualifying, I was second. I said I had him most of the lap when we were ghosting it, and I let up under the tunnel. I let up. I made a mistake. And I told him, I said, you know, I got you right where I want you. That's right where I want you, bud. And we were joking around, but no, nothing too serious, mate. We're brothers first and races second. So
enjoy that relationship.
Yeah, RC, Stu, I guess that answers the question for you guys about the serial conversation.
Yeah. I wish I could ask him. How does he feel about the serial conversation?
I don't know that I'd want to talk to Jet right now.
That's why I said.
Yeah, a little different this week. Give you the highlights from SMX Playoff 2 in Texas. Hard pack racetrack as we were looking at nearly 100-degree temperatures. That didn't stop the riders from going all out in these motos. This is 450 Moto 1. It looked like Eli Tomac was going to have the start RC, but just goes wide.
Yeah, gets out there, comes in a little hot. That's going to happen. Easy to do, because if he brakes too hard, he risks the chance of guys running in the back of him and causing a collision.
So Hunter's in the lead. Cooper Webb's got a good start. Jet Lawrence is third there on the number 1. And Eli Tomac, not a good start, but look at these passes, James.
Yeah, man, he had some great lines, and probably because he didn't get the start, he was able to see and pick his way around the racetrack. And man, when he decided to come, he was coming like the vintage Eli Tomac. Here it is, getting around his teammate, another squaring it up on the inside. and he set his sights forward to those 2 brothers that was leading out front.
That was an epic pass, and it's so hard to do against guys like Cooper Webb. And up here at the top of this this class right here.
Chase Sexton, bad start, then stalls, challenging Webb.
A little thing like that can just absolutely kill your momentum of the drive forward, because he was coming at that stage.
And then same thing. No forward drive, wheel spin by Hunter, that coughs up the lead, but then he'd go back after Jet, put the pressure on, and then Jet stalls.
Yeah, we saw Chase Sexton just do the same thing, so it must be kind of a theme. And then the race was on. We see how far Eli Tomac was back. He caught these guys, and then you would think that he would just be able to go around Hunter Lawrence for the win, but Hunter did his best to hold on, put in some great laps as Jet Lawrence is trying to get around ET. He didn't give up, but it was number 96, man. He was not to be denied this first moto. We saw what happened at the end.
He was a sleeper for me and one of my picks for the SMX World Championship. Hunter, just because you look at the year he's had, how well he's done, and he has some great momentum.
Look at this battle between Jet Lawrence and Eli Tomac.
Yeah, and I think this actually helped Hunter just get a little bit of gap, because these 2 boys, they were out here fighting, or 2 men were here fighting between each other, and allowed Hunter to get away just a little bit. And this is the last lap. That's how close all 3 of these guys were. But it was Hunter Lawrence getting his first win of the year of the playoffs.
It's the bang, bang, bang finish. Look how close, as you said, it was. And that was huge for Hunter to hold off 2 of the best in the business. Pretty much saying, well, so am I. I'm one of the best in the game.
This is like roulette. It really is. I mean, well, James, you talked about
a lot because of the start. We did not expect these guys to be up front. You had suddenly Dylan Ferrandis with the progressive hole shot. Plessinger, Anderson.
Letty and Malcolm going down there. Hate to see that for both of those guys. And man, I'll tell you what, an incredible ride by Chase Sexton. This is, we know what he's capable of. He had a great motocross championship. And these are the rides that we expect of him. But like you said, James, this track was so start dependent.
Yeah, definitely start dependent. This is Cooper Webb trying to get around Dylan Ferrandis as he does. Makes his way up in the second, and Cooper real good this second moto. Hang on for that for a little while.
You know, we talked about how start dependent. That was a good save by Jet Lawrence, but I hate to go off course here, but you talk how start dependent was. I just felt like how this track was the second moto. It's so hard to make up time because the conditions were so slippery. So that makes the starts even more important, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was Jet getting around his brother at towards the end of the race. Actually, I believe this was for 3rd place, because you still had Chase's teammate, Aaron Plessinger.
And then Webb as well, yeah. And then finally Webb didn't get that rhythm lane the way he wanted it, and that allows Jet to move up.
Yeah, Jet was coming. He had number 3 coming up behind him, so set his sights on, kept going. And then it was Hunter Lawrence. Why this pass matters, because it took Chase Sexton out of the overall victory, put Hunter back in, and it kind of changed everything leading into that last race.
Well, it really does, because it becomes winner take all, and that's where we're going to have to lean on Clinton Fowler from We Went Fast. Stats. And
well, almost not.
The data shows you.
Almost not, because Hunter at the last lap almost threw it away and was able to gather it back up and go 1-3 to get the overall win. Sexton is going to go 4-1. That's second overall.
Don't even ask me who I think's going to win. No, I ain't going to answer you.
I wouldn't even say anything.
We don't even think about it. You know, we don't ask when it's obvious.
Who do you feel like might have the best chance of winning next weekend?
Well, I know that...
best chance. I ain't saying
best chance.
So there are those 3. If either of them win the Triple Point World Championship round next week, they are the $1 million SMX World Champion. It is Hunter Lawrence with a win over Chase Sexton. Jet Lawrence is 3rd.
This is the first time I've seen guys on the podium with no boots on.
I mean, look at the finishes though. You got a 1-3, right? A 4-1. I mean, they're just all over the place. It's so hard to predict, but so much fun to watch. Definitely going to want to tune in to next weekend.
Even Cooper Webb, who held off Eli Tomac.
Hey,
Eli Tomac was riding great
massive
today.
improvement for Cooper Webb this weekend on a very difficult racetrack.
Yeah, so he could be right in the mix. Points-wise, even for Tomac, it's a bit of a stretch, even with triple points, but they will be in the fight, potentially stealing points away from those other 3. Or maybe he pulls this off somehow for triple points. If we've learned anything, we have no idea what's going to happen. Maybe this guy does. Let's send it to Will Christian with the Honda HRC Progressive Team Manager.
Thank you, Lars Lindstrom with me now. Lars, two of you guys up here on the podium today. Now we head into next weekend in a winner-take-all scenario with both of them in that situation. And oh, by the way, they happen to be brothers. What's that dynamic like for you, for their dad, Darren, for the guys? I mean, it's very unusual.
I don't want to correct you, but we have 3 guys on the podium today with Joe Shimoda.
Yes, you did.
But, you know, anyways, yeah, no, it's unbelievable with 2 450 guys, premier guys, and Hunter getting his first, you know, big bike win, big 450 win. Super happy for him. We're, you know, couldn't have done it at a better time with our partnership with the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. So it was super cool to have those graphics on his bike, you know, and everything, and tie that all together was really special. And just, you know, him taking the red plate for the last race too, and it's kind of a winner take all, like you said, you know, coming in to next weekend. And Darren, he doesn't show it, you know, he's calm, cool, calm and collected, but I'm sure inside him and Emma, their mom, is probably pretty dang nervous.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible to see. Sorry, I missed Joe. Congratulations on Joe. How surprised are you by this comeback from him? I mean, what, 4 weeks was when he started there in Concord last week out of injury. How proud are you of him and the progress they're making, and what can you attribute that to?
You know, I really do think it has something to do with him having good vibes from this series last week or last year at this time, and then, you know, maybe he's got a little bit, you know, those 2 races off where he had his collarbone that was healing. It healed so quick and he felt so good so fast that I think he just feels good and motivated, and you know, he just has a lot of aggression, which is not something he has at the beginning of the race. We've been working on that, and so yeah, I'm really proud of him too, and I'm excited to come in the last round with hopefully an even better result.
Unfortunately, we're missing one of your team. Chance Hymas there had to back out this weekend and the finale next weekend. How's he doing? What's his state of mind with it, and what's the plan moving forward?
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, this whole year he's been dealing with a torn ACL that he had fixed and then retorn in Supercross. He was managing that really well, and I think at a certain point he kind of forgot and felt like it felt normal, and you know, people can do that when they get, you know, strength in their knee. So unfortunately last week he stuck it in the ground and it created a bone bruise. So he had an MRI. It looks like it's okay other than the obvious torn ACL. And so we're going to take a couple weeks off. The Motocross of Nations is really important to him and the team. So we're going to try to be ready for that and then reevaluate after that race what we're going to do.
Well, congratulations on all the successes today. We wish Chance the best luck there moving forward with his injury, and good luck next week.
Thank you. It's exciting.
Thanks, Oz. Appreciate it. Katie.
Yeah, a lot of anticipation, but they did pop some bottles there behind the black curtain. I saw them all passing that champagne. So Team Honda HRC, a big day for them, as they were just talking about, but really a whole lot of anticipation. Switching gears now to a guy who may have had a win, JB. What you think in his own mental game, physical game? Chase Sexton, 4-1, coming in second. How much of that was a little bit of a victory?
I think it was a big victory for Chase. I really do. Look, it's no secret that he caught some heat this week. I'm sure he was frustrated with his Charlotte performance, and he came in here looking to prove something, right? And I really think that second moto, Adam, was incredible for him.
I agree.
I just think it's so start dependent. He's one of the guys. The reason he catches so much criticism is he's one of the few that can challenge Jet and Hunter and Eli, right?
Yeah.
And he's a champion. He's a previous champion. So, of course, there's a lot of pressure on him. He puts a lot of pressure on himself, but I think today was a victory.
Yeah, and like we talked about earlier, I think with the heat on Chase, it's all about the standard you set for yourself, right? He's proven that he's one of the guys. He can do it. He can go out there and win by 15 seconds, and there's not a lot of guys that can do that. But I want to talk about Hunter Lawrence. First, it was great to have him. It was great to have him on the set. But
smell the champagne off of him, the sweat off of him.
He left the sweat puddle.
Yeah, totally.
He did. And I remember racing with him 5 years ago in the 250 class, right? And he was kind of going through a bit of a rough patch. He would have some injuries, and then all of a sudden it was Jet's turn, and then now we're all focused on Jet. Everybody kind of forgot about Hunter, and quietly in the background, the guy's just been working his butt off. Now he's a fixture on the podium every weekend, going into the last playoff round, tied in points, like for $1 million. Yeah. I just think that career arc is so cool. He's pulled himself, people forget, but he's pulled himself from basically being irrelevant to now he's basically a superstar. So I'm just so happy. I'm so happy for him.
When you take a look at what he put together here this weekend, showing up, doing what he needed to do, especially truly like last weekend, we were talking to our production call this week. We hardly talked about Hunter Lawrence after last weekend. How much of the monkey is off his back now that he finally got his first overall? And how much does that give a rider confidence going into something like the finals?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge. I think he's been so close all year long, and just to finally get over the hump. And man, you cannot pick a better time to get hot than right now. Round 2 of the playoffs, going into Vegas, triple points, everything on the line.
And he's a rookie. We forget.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's got rookie of the year locked up.
There, yeah.
He's got rookie of the year locked up. JT?
That is true. Yeah, JT's out trackside right now. JT, it's been a hot topic, literally, figuratively, literally, the track all day long.
Well, Hunter Lawrence was making that comment about trying to ride a road bicycle on a mountain bike course. I just try to visualize that for the viewer. Now you see how slippery it is at the beginning of this corner, right? So he starts to lose traction just like he did on that last lap, almost throwing away the winner, loses traction. But just when you get past that, you start to fall into these bumps. And he's talked about running suspension components on an outdoor setup, and that doesn't necessarily work, right? Because as soon as you get to that corner, the rear tire is going to drop into this bump, and his setup is so rigid, it's not going to absorb that. So all of that energy that on an outdoor setup would be absorbed by the suspension is going to be transferred up into his body. So he's taking hit after hit into his body, jarring the handlebars like James Stewart talking about. It's like holding onto a jackhammer because they have to set the motorcycle up to be able to handle Supercross triples and these big doubles too. So these hybrid tracks create such a difficult setup for the riders, and they really get beat up after a day of racing. They'll probably be more sore tomorrow than they would ever in a Supercross because of it. Guys up in the booth, up to you.
Here are the highlights, 250 class. This is SMX Playoff 2 from Texas Motor Speedway. Hayden Deegan came in with momentum, math on his side because he was the #1 seed coming in and won the first round, and then starts too, gets out front early.
Yep, he left here with the same amount of momentum, except for he got better on the start. So Hayden Deegan did exactly what he needed to do. This was the first moto. Joe Shimoda actually got around him in the beginning part, but Hayden Deegan hits this triple, was able to get back on the inside of Joe, and pretty much he led every lap from the rest of there for the rest of the day. He was on not to be denied, Jay.
No doubt, but no, man, denied is Nate Thrasher.
Yeah, that was a huge crash. We see Ty Masterpool doing the same thing, but man, hate to see Nate go down like that.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row that he has crashed out of action. Then RJ Hampshire gets put down by his old buddy, Jordan Smith.
Jordan Smith giving him the business. I don't think Jordan missed him. I don't think he missed the inside now that we got another look, but
he missed the Masterpool crash you were talking about.
He got lucky here, dude.
No, he got lucky, and for sure. I mean, all these guys, even Nate getting off the racetrack, but you know, Ty, get off the track.
Whatever. March Banks. Hayden Deegan, as you said, James, led every lap of this one, had that brief challenge from Shimoda, able to get away and win it pretty handily. We go to Moto 2. Not a great jump for Deegan on the #1, but he just muscles his way in front here.
Hey, if you didn't like what you saw the first moto, you definitely ain't gonna like what you see the second moto with Hayden Deegan. But impressive. He told us he was gonna go work on the starts. He's 2 for 2 today.
Yeah, 2 for 2. I mean, at this point, as Jordan Smith, he has to going down, and Pierce Brown, remember that name by the time they ended this race, but bummer for those guys. But yeah, Hayden Deegan, yeah, he's a whole different level. Tom Vial rode great all day long. This is Ty Masterpool up front. Well, not up front, but up near the front, goes down. Simple mistakes. And when you think about the 450, Hunter going off of that same part of the track.
I mean, it looked like he hit a trip wire. You know what I mean? It's like, where'd that come from?
He hit a gator hole.
Now, Levi Kitchen was challenging Deegan the first 2 laps. Had a little off-track excursion there. You also see RJ Hampshire lurking in 3rd. Those are the early laps. Deegan able to get away. Now watch Hampshire under pressure from Vial.
Yeah, we saw guys kind of making a mistake all day long. RJ's back tire gets slides down in that hole, goes off at a different angle, hits the tough blocks, and man, he hit a hard hit. But great to see him get off. Got the best medical crew around, Dr. Bodner and all these guys. And then it was Tom Vial making his way up. Didn't get great starts today, but had great pace. He was able to get around Levi Kitchen for 2nd place, and he tried his best to catch Hayden.
James, and you brought up a great point earlier today in the first moto, I believe it was, that this style SMX track really would fit Tom Vial's riding style. Smaller straightaways and smaller sections.
He did ride well, but no challengers for Deegan again, who is 4-0. 4 motos, 4 moto wins in SMX in 2024. He won the title last year, but that was a nail-biter. He does have a bit of a cushion in points this year, but with triple points, he still needs to finish 3rd next week to lock up the title, no matter what anyone else does. And there is Vial and Shimoda on the podium.
Yeah, sometimes you're just born with it.
Yep. That's what he said last week, right? Yeah. Line choice. Born with it. Hayden Deegan out front again. Results, it is Vial over Shimoda. Kitchen ends up drifting back to 4th in that moto and then 4th overall. Julian Beaumer ends up 5th for the podium last week. Smith had a great comeback, 6th, and a great comeback for Brown, end up 7th. The points here. Yeah. So again, Deegan's going to need to finish 3rd, and then that doesn't matter what happens. Beyond that, if Vial wins and Deegan finishes 4th or worse, Vial can still do this.
Yeah, I like. I'm not betting on the 450, but I probably bet on the 250.
Are you going to make a prediction for once?
Best chance?
Best chance. Best chance.
Best chance, Hayden Deegan?
Yeah, not calling it, but he's got the best chance.
Yeah, like, well, with his math, the way he adds in the math, I love this. It's simple. 1-1 equals 1 in my book. And 1, a lot of money on the line, but yeah, Hayden Deegan's on a different level right now.
Yeah, $500,000 will go to the 250 world champ, and Deegan collected well over 100 for winning the race today. Let's send it back to Katie at the desk.
Yeah, we know Hayden bought a car after winning the Pro Motocross Championship. I'm curious what he might do when, JB, you said the pre-race show you might get the pen out and start writing the check to him.
I got it.
What are you going to do with that next?
I think I'm ready to put Hayden's name on it. I'm not ready to sign it, but I'm ready to put his name on it.
Pretty close to it.
We got a little bit of a prediction out of RC.
I know.
We're coming around. But unbelievable performance right out from Hayden Deegan. Just all the way from Race Day Live earlier today, qualifying fastest both sessions, just amazing.
It's like, what can you say? Like, what's left to say? Every single condition he comes out here, and what I think is cool when you watch Hayden, he has that really aggressive, super aggressive style, kind of a little bit high in the RPMs, but you go to a track like this that's super treacherous, really slick, potholes everywhere, just a weird track. And he comes, adapts, and gets it done, and still the best guy. So he's shown that he's the best on all conditions, and it's up to these guys to close the gap.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what he's going to do as like his takeaway. He always feels like there's something else he can do better. What is it going to be? Stu and RC were asking that in the show. What else can he say he could do better in one of these races? He got those double hole shots. He showed that he can get his start down. I want to talk a little bit about Tom Vial, JB. The guy showed up again today. How does that move the needle for someone like him, especially since his track fit his riding style? Can he take anything into next weekend?
Well, I think coming into the SMX races, into Playoff 1 in Charlotte, we are all talking about Tom Vial. He's a past MX2 world champion. He's a Supercross champion now. He's a contender anywhere in the world that he lines up. So why wouldn't he be one of the favorites coming into here? Okay round at Charlotte last week. I really think we've seen the real Tom Vial show up. I think late in that second moto, Adam, you and I were kind of talking about that. His intensity came up. It was like his belief just went, okay, I can go get Hayden now. So do we see that next week in Las Vegas? Potentially, but unfortunately that points deficit might be a little too much.
Yeah, and you know JB as well as I do. Little things like that, nobody's talking about it. Camera wasn't really on it, but little things like that you can build, and that can completely change the outcome of your entire season. So just, yeah, I felt Vial finished the race really well. Another guy I'm looking at, and somebody that's been kind of hanging around in the background this year, is Joe Shimoda. Coming into the year on the Honda, he was really the guy. He was the guy, and he was, you know, kind of, I guess, on schedule to win races, to challenge for championships. And we haven't seen that yet, but we have seen flashes. You know, he's just getting back on the bike after an injury, only a few days on the bike before Playoff 1, getting a little better, another podium here. I do think Vial and Joe both have what it takes to get up there. It's just doing it consistently. Right?
A 2 and a 3 today for Joe. Here, fun fact about Joe: in 10 of the SMX motos that we've had over the course of the SMX World Championship, he has been in the top 5 in all 10. So that shows some consistency.
I've got a fun fact about Joe. He's a good buddy of mine. We trained together last summer. I've never seen somebody that sleeps as much as this man. Dude, he goes to sleep at 7 o'clock, and he will not wake up until his alarm goes
Give
up.
Give us your secrets. I can tell you. Yeah, with a baby that doesn't work, I'd love to learn how to do any and all that.
The recovery is next level for Joe.
It's a great skill.
Yeah,
good skill.
Exactly.
Well, of course, this is not it. It seems like it might have been it, but of course, it's winner take all for those 450s. Tell us how you can watch this, where you can be a part of it, and why it's so important.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. A couple folks might not be sleeping well this week with the pressure of the World Championship right in front of them, namely Chase Sexton, Hunter, and Jet Lawrence. It will be a Saturday night race from the strip. That is the drag strip that is part of Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And we'll have coverage at 4:30 Eastern time of Race Day Live. That will be qualifying, and every little piece, even in qualifying, is going to be important as we try to figure out what's going to happen. We'll have our SMX Insider pre-race show just like we had today at 9:30 Eastern. Gate drop at 10 o'clock Eastern. That's all on Peacock or the SMX Video Pass. You can also watch the Spanish language broadcast on Telemundo Deportes YouTube channel starting again at 10 Eastern. Okay, the 250 class, the math's pretty easy for Hayden Deegan. Barring disaster, he's going to win it. You never know, though, what could happen in racing. As you're saying, RC, good luck trying to predict this stuff. This 450, unbelievable. We could not have scripted it better this year.
Yeah, so we've all been in this situation. Winner take all for us, 2006 at Las Vegas for the Monster Energy Supercross Series. And honestly, you go out there, you execute your race, and you just do the best that you can do, and the rest is going to take care of itself. Put yourself in good positions to get the best start possibly that you can get. Keep it on two wheels, find that limit, and don't go over it, and be there at the end when the checkered flag flies. And however it plays out is how it plays out.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's Hunter Lawrence's approach. I mean, he's an even kill, you know, not too high, not too low. But you saw how Jet Lawrence was looking. He was mean-mugging over there. He was kind of upset. But I think even with Chase Sexton, now I feel like now it's one thing going in, as I mentioned earlier, believing like, okay, I got a chance with points, but actually believing he can win. And I got a feeling that the Speedway, the track's going to be somewhat like this as far as the conditions. Vegas is a harder soil, a lot of... So they'll have to deal with the same thing. But Chase Sexton, Jet Lawrence, Hunter Lawrence, I'll even throw Eli Tomac in there. People, get your popcorn ready, as T.O. would say. It's on for next weekend.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a wide open field because we have never had a race there, so they don't really have data to draw on. And if you want to say it's similar dirt to what we had here, well, we had 4 or 5 different guys that were the best guy at different points of the two motos today between Chase and Hunter and Jed and Eli, and Cooper Webb rode well. So it is all up for grabs, really, not just mathematically. Every one of these guys could believe they are the guy heading into next week. Send it down trackside one more time with Jason Thomas.
Well, it's not an accident that I'm standing by a tunnel here, because that's how I think that Hunter Lawrence, Jet Lawrence, and Chase Sexton have to be this week. They have to have tunnel vision. This SMX World Championship will be one of the biggest events of their life. It's something they'll remember forever, so don't stay up late watching TV. Don't slack off, do it. You have to be all in this week. Every ounce of effort you can put into winning this championship will show up on Saturday night. And what I would say to those guys, Jet Lawrence and Chase Sexton specifically, think about how you felt when you left LA Memorial Coliseum. Think about the contrast of how Chase Sexton felt and how Jet Lawrence felt when they left that race. Both of them, and Hunter Lawrence too, have an opportunity to completely determine how they will feel leaving Las Vegas on Saturday night, and we're going to be there to all watch it, Will.
That's right, JT, we are, and you and I were talking about it just minutes ago there. For Hunter Lawrence is perhaps the impact of that more. You think about how he has come through his career. Even though he's the older brother of Jet there, he's somewhat lived in his shadow for a while here now. He is in his rookie year of his 450, and we've really seen him come out of himself this year. The outdoor season for him there in Pro Motocross was absolutely fantastic, and he has that attitude that you guys in the booth there were talking about, the idea that he just kind of stays steady. I have never met a steadier athlete, I don't think, than Hunter Lawrence. So maybe that's to his strength going into the finale in Vegas. But if he could do that and pull that off and beat Jet Lawrence, who is not only his brother but the guy that everybody talks about, and then beat Chase Sexton too, who he's obviously been battling with here all summer throughout the Pro Motocross season, and then suddenly he's on the other side of that as the SMX champion. He's the guy. It suddenly changes everything. We're not looking at Hunter Lawrence as the rookie that's coming in and he's kind of like, you know, he's like the third wheel there. Suddenly he's the guy. So for Hunter Lawrence, well, I don't know if he lets any of this creep in. He's probably too good at this now at this point to let that happen. He's got, unfortunately, a whole week here that he has to try and block that. that and keep that under control. I can't wait for next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's the lead up. The lead up's going to be a lot of fun too. Can't wait, guys.
Yeah, it absolutely would be an incredible weekend next weekend. Thanks, Will. Thanks, JT. You know, Adam Cianciarulo, you are the only guy among all of us who have raced in an SMX World Championship. What happens this week? Bring us up to speed of the thoughts, the training, the vibe, and then all of a sudden it being go time.
Well, they've already done it for 30 weeks, right? So this week, you're going to get everything you possibly have left over from the season.
The tank.
Everybody's tired.
Yep.
Everybody doesn't want to go to work, doesn't want to go to the track, doesn't want to go to the gym, right? It's all about digging in, and I think it's really easy with the playoffs being such a big stage, all this money on the line. I do think it's easier to kind of get up in the morning and still be working hard this late into the season just because of what's at stake. But for Hunter Lawrence, in talking about kind of that stoic demeanor that he has, I feel that that is a great asset to him because the season is so long. And JB, you know as well as me, every race, I know when I race, I'm sure it's the same for you, every race is the most important race of your life. You know, we were talking offset earlier, we all get nervous starting on Tuesday morning when we wake up, and it builds and builds and builds, and that's what's happening every week. So the fact that he has been able to be kind of stoic, to manage his emotions, I think he's going to have a little bit more left in the tank. And he's somebody we weren't even talking about last week.
And
that's
wild?
crazy. And I think the same thing with the 250 class, right? Like, Deegan has been the class of the field, no doubt about it. But it's dirt bike racing, and anything can happen, JB.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything can happen at any time. But, you know, Chase Sexton has a chance. He's the pro motocross champion. Jet Lawrence has a chance. We could not script this any better. There's $1 million on the line. And we mentioned it earlier, Adam. You mentioned, look, you're only as good as your last race. This is a chance for one of these guys to make a statement.
Yep.
We got 3 months.
Oh.
Till 2025 Monster Energy Supercross. Think about that.
Yeah.
That would be a statement to say, hey, think about this for the next 3 months, guys, and I'll put $1 million in my pocket.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive. Of course, it's also writing history. We talk a lot about the legacy, the pride, the money that goes all into this. It's unbelievable. Earlier, we talked a little bit about sending our little chips in, going to Vegas. Okay, who you got? I know RC ain't going to play with us.
I'm going to go RC style. I cannot pick.
What?
I just cannot pick. I can't wait to go through the week and obviously bench race about it behind the scenes. And look, we've got 3 great champions that are ready to go for $1 million.
What about your Vegas?
Yeah, you know, I really hate to be, I try to be impartial. You know, I think a little recency bias. Like, I'm really happy to see Hunter up there and get his first win. So if I had to pick somebody, I'll just go Hunter because I think that'd be great to see. But any one of those guys is deserving.
You know what, I think I'm going to go with you. It would be a lot of fun to see Hunter back on the box, taking home a couple of extra bucks in his pocket, and of course, the conversation with him and his brother would be quite interesting. For our whole team here in Texas, Jason Wygant, Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, Will Christian, Jason Thomas, my guys, Justin Brayton, Adam Cianciarulo, I'm Katie Osborne. Congratulations to the 250 winner, Hayden Deegan, and the 450 winner, Hunter Lawrence. Sure hope you'll join us next week in Las Vegas as we crown a pair of SuperMotocross world champions for the second time ever.